Yes. Welcome back to the channel. This is GH247, Ghana News Network. Yeah, this is your channel. Wherever you are around the globe, on the diaspora especially, this channel is yours and I would like you to love it. Like it and share the video. Let it go viral and let me hear from you in the comments section. Well, we've started the year on a very good note, and right now with a new president in Ghana, President His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has been performing some wonders, magical wonders. Dear friend, just look at this picture on your screen. I saw this on social media. I'm like, wow, Ghanaians can raise you up. They have the power to make you the king. At the same time, you fuck up, you mess up, they'll bring you low. And money, I don't know whether the person purposely dropped it in that bush. But look at the caption. JM is doing wonders. JM is John Mahama, the president of Ghana, is doing wonders. The John Mahama, the president of Ghana, is he the one that dropped the money on the grass, in the bush, in the forest? But all they try to say is that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama came into power as a president of Ghana, and things are beginning to flourish. That is a message they try to send across. That now they can enjoy money. They can now, as a matter of fact, many people used to say that in those days when we were kids, you can be walking on the street and you just come across money on the floor. Yes, many Ghanaians will tell you that hardly will you walk on the street and find money on the floor. Mistakenly, somebody can just drop money mistakenly, and then you as a kid growing up, you're walking by, you see maybe 1 Ghana cedis, 2 Ghana cedis, or 10 Ghana on the floor. It's been a long while. So Ghanaians are saying, well, now we are beginning to find money on the street, on the floor. Listen, you see politics, I want to say something here before I continue. On this channel, I want to maintain some sort of neutrality. We've given the government a honeymoon period. Oh yes, I will not deny my political lineage as an NDC, man. I'm from the Volta region. I'm an Ewe, and in our state or our region, our part of Ghana is where NDC actually emanated from. The founder was J.J. Rawlings, Jerry John Rawlings. Yes, so I will not deny that fact, but I will try as much as I can on this channel for the sake of the country Ghana, to maintain some sort of neutrality. And anyone that will peradventure come on this channel with me one of these days, or as we are arranging, dear friend, we will try to maintain some sort of neutrality. Wherever the government will go wrong, we will take them on. But what we will not accept on this channel is all those fake news from the opponent of the government, from the opposition party. Now, I'm happy. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama made a statement yesterday when he was swearing in the first batch of the ministers that were vetted. Yes, he sworn in 6 ministers yesterday. Oh yes, notably among them was the finance minister, the attorney general, minister of justice, minister of agric, Minister of Education, and 2 others. I mean, some key areas were already sworn in to fulfill his 14-day promise that he gave during the campaign trail. Yes, he promised that within his first 14 days, you have some key ministers in place. In fact, his cabinet ministers nominated, and within the 14 days, he nominated the full cabinet. But the swearing in yesterday was 6 of those cabinet members, dear friend, and he made a statement. He said, we've averted Dumsor and addressed senior high school food shortage. President Mahama. Why did he make this statement? Yes, he rightly made that statement, and I agree with him 1000%. You know why? Both the Dumsor, for those of you that are in the diaspora, you might not know what Dumsor means. Dumsor is the light going off and coming on. The light in Ghana, the energy sector, our lighting system going off and on. That is, in Ghana parlance, it's termed Dumsor, off and on. You see, the outgoing government, they made it like a setup that he will come into power. From the day he was sworn in, the light in Ghana will begin to go off, so that they can take advantage and start their propaganda against the government, to make the government from the onset unpopular. So they did not actually do the things we're supposed to do in place. For instance, Ghana, we rely on thermal plants and hydro, plants. Hydro from our lake, Volta Lake. Now, the thermal plants that were installed, even under this same government that is in power now, they installed a thermal plant in their last tenure. But the thermal plant uses gas to generate the electricity. And the gas supply comes from the West African pipeline through the West African, coast. That's from Nigeria, Benin Republic, Togo Republic, then to Ghana. And even to Ivory Coast, it's a pipeline to supply gas from Nigeria to the West Coast. And every government needs to negotiate for the supply and do payments in advance. Listen, the outgoing government, they did not do so. And at the time of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's government coming to power, Ghana had only 5 hours of gas available. Apart from what is already powering the plants, that the lights are on. When that finished, in reserve, Ghana only had 5 hours of gas supply available. And we also understand that from the time that you place the order, it takes 2 weeks for the supply to arrive in Ghana. Then it takes another 1 week plus, or another, it takes 2 weeks to make the order. 2 weeks is for the supply to arrive. Then another 2 to 3 weeks for the gas to be processed before the thermal plants, could use it. Before it can be used to generate the power, the electricity. And then here is the case, we have only 5 hours. But as the gods of JM, John Dramani Mahama, JDM, they have it. The Nigerian president, yes, was a special guest of honor. And on that same day, realizing the situation on ground, His Excellency JM spoke to the Nigerian president, look, I have an emergency. Put aside every protocol. Let the gas be supplied now. And as we speak, the gas has been supplied and it's currently being treated for the thermal plant. Apart from that, the situation was said that so far, so good. The Dumsor, the light, the power is on, steady. There is no power shortage in Ghana as we speak. Dear friend, so His Excellency yesterday, swearing in the first batch of the minister, says, well, we've averted Dumsor and addressed the senior high school food shortage, which is the second point. The free feeding of the students in the senior high schools, senior secondary schools, free feeding has been a government policy. The previous administration, that was what they came into power on a campaign of free senior high education. This current government, the campaign has always been progressive as it was in the law. Progressive free education for all. Progressively. But you see, as politics, the previous administration, they made it in a way that they said, now for all. Instead of what the law stipulated, progressively. They came and they said, now for all. And when they did that, what actually transpired, dear friends, was that there was so much pressure on the resources of the nation. So much pressure. The government had to look for funding to fund the senior high school, including the feeding. So therefore, they had to borrow more. and more children were enrolled into the educational sector. Yet, the students did not have enough accommodation, not enough classrooms. The previous administration, those like JM administration was first of all in government. Now, they are back into government. And their policy is free and progressive so that we can build more schools, more hostels before we now enroll all. So they said progressively. Living Power, the new patriotic party, now in opposition, they purposely made sure that the new students that are going to school, they will not have enough or sufficient food. There was no food in stock. And we all understand, we know that in January, when schools reopens, students must go back to school. So students have to go back to school, there will not be any food for them to feed on. But you see, the God of JM is alive. As he stepped into office after his swearing in, assessing the situation, dear friends, we know every government have food stocks in the warehouses to avert any, famine or whatever it is. Yes, government imported some food stuff like rice and milk and tin tomato that were. Yet, this government failed to supply to the schools ahead. Immediately, one of the first decisions he made was to instruct his chief of staff. President John Mahama instructed the chief of staff to liaise with the education ministry and the directors of education to make sure the food stuff that are available in our warehouses in Ghana should be distributed across the country. And that was done with emergency. By the help of the military and emergency services, providers, the schools were supplied with foodstuffs and the shortage of food items in schools were averted. Dear friend, if you do not understand why JM made this statement yesterday in a swearing in of the first batch of the ministers, cabinet ministers, when he says, we've averted Dumsor and addressed the senior high school food shortage. This is what he tried to put across. I hope you got it clearly. Now we move on. Now, on that note, the opposition, they've started a propaganda. And like I said earlier on, this channel, we will not renege on our promise to Ghanaians. We are going to be working in a way that whenever the government goes wrong, we will speak about it. But one thing that we will not take on this channel is to sit back and allow the opposition with their propaganda. I have some of their names. General Buhari, he called himself, and some others on X or Twitter and on some other social media networks, fighting this government where there is no issue. Example. Mr. Irish is one of those fake news, items. He's on X. By name is Mr. Irish. You see, this is what they do. They come up with fake names. You cannot identify them. On X, he said, we don't have the money now to implement free level 100 as promised in our manifesto. For now, go and get some loans and pay. We will refund later. He's quoting from the newly vetted and appointed educational minister. He's quoting him. But guess what? This is not what he said. This is not what the educational minister nominee or that has been newly appointed. This is not what he said. The statement he said was very clear and categorical at a vetting committee. When I listened to him 3 days ago, I wish I can play the audio for you to hear. He said, go and pay. Go. In fact, I want to play this for you, the video. I don't know if I can get it here. He said, those who have already paid the fees will be refunded. The first year, he's talking about first year university enrollment. You go to the first year university in Ghana. The government promised on a campaign that all first years, their fees will be paid by government. You are going to the university in Ghana as a Ghanaian. Your enrollment fee will be paid by the government. Now, the government came into power. The president was sworn in on the 7th of January. At that moment, there was no cabinet in place. There was no ministerial appointment. The finance minister has no idea what is in the coffers. And students are being enrolled into the various universities. It is only 3 days ago that he was vetted. Yesterday, he was sworn in. And he made a statement. He said, those who have already paid the money, their fees, their money will be refunded to them. Pay it, even if you are now going to pay because you don't want to miss your lessons in school as a first year in a university. Go ahead and pay it. But they have instructed all the vice chancellors across the universities in Ghana that their monies should be refunded. And he continued that 350 million Ghana cedis is going to be made available for a refund for all the parents, all students that have paid such an amount of money. And he also said, it's not a force. If you are a parent, you think you have already paid and you don't need a refund from government, fair be it. Now, for this guy called by name Mr. Irish, he is in the clique of those. You see, these guys, MPP, you guys will be in opposition for so long. You're going to stay in opposition until 2039. Yes. You guys will remain in because you are so addicted to lies. You have made your party unpopular because you have agreed, you have accepted mother serpent of lies to be your God. You know how to twist every word. And just because, I'm sorry to say, in your stronghold, the Ashanti region, majority are uneducated. And that is why you can have someone like Chairman Tumi as your as your chairman in the region. How would a party with a chairman like Wuntumi being the national chairman of the Ashanti region? I mean, does that make sense? Who does that? Chairman Wuntumi as your chairman in the Ashanti region. And then you go to be a Brangahafo or Abronye as your regional chairman. Who does that? These are people that my 7-year-old son in primary school year 1 is smarter and clever than, speaks more sense than. I am serious. My 7-year-old son in kindergarten, primary school year 1 is smarter and thinks more faster than. How do you have Chairman Wuntumi as your chairman in Ashanti region? Your stronghold, and be a Brangahafo region, Abronye. And then no wonder you chose Napo as your vice presidential candidate. That is the more reason why you lost this election massively and heavily. It never happened before in the history of Ghana. 37%. If your child is in school and comes back home, out of 100%, he scored 37%. How do you call that child? Your child goes to write exam and score 37, 38%. How do you call that child? Not even 40. Yet you guys will not sit back and reason and think. You are still on X, talking nonsense. Look, we don't need you. We don't need your lecture. NDC doesn't need your lecture. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has already appointed his ministers. He promised to have a lean government. Unlike your president, the former government, Akufo-Addo, who nominated 120 plus, almost 130 ministers. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama promised on a campaign trail to not have more than 60 ministers. Not more than 60. Right now, in fact, he said cabinet. Instead of 30 cabinet ministers, he will have only 23. And he did just that. So far, 43 ministers are appointed. 43 out of the 60. You had 120-something ministers wasting resources. There are some portfolio, there are some ministries that have 3 deputies. For what reason? Job for the boys. Look at this on your screen, dear friend. This is coming from Modern Ghana News. I think properly before. I didn't think, forgive me. I didn't think properly before entering into Sputnik V contract, health minister. This was under your administration. Ghana's health minister admitting to the public that he didn't think properly before entering into Sputnik V contract. Health minister, you didn't think properly. This was a minister you nominated, you appointed in your government, Mr. Irish and General Buhari, whatever they call yourselves. This was a minister. COVID injection that Ghanaians were to take for the COVID virus. He says that he didn't think properly before going into contract for the supply from Russia for Sputnik vaccine. So it means that Ghanaians at that moment, whether that vaccine was a poison, as a matter of fact, the vaccine was even expired. That was why he was called. He was called to this, how do you call it, for questioning. And he admitted that he didn't think properly. And he said, I was under pressure and I didn't think properly. Health minister, you were under pressure, you didn't think properly. So you went in and signed a contract for a vaccine that expired. Apart from that, the cost was almost like triple the price in the world market. This was during COVID. And these were your appointments, your for ministerial positions. You want to compare yourself to the current government. JM is a smart man. He's smart. I told you guys, you come after us, we'll come after you. This is your general secretary. We lost 2024 elections spiritually. Your general secretary is saying that you guys lost the election spiritually. General secretary of New Patriotic Party. Really? Your mother is a witch, right? It's your mother that attacked your party. Oh, mommy. Let me not even go further. I'm sorry for my words. Pardon me. General Buhari on X. The insecurity in Ghana is becoming way too much, and it is discouraging foreign investors from investing in Ghana. Since when did this started? President Mahama was sworn into office as a president only 2 weeks ago. So are you insinuating this towards your own government? I mean, the outgoing government, or you're talking about the new government? He says some are even closing down their companies after Anglo-Gold Ashanti was attacked. If the insecurity is not tackled by the president, Ghana may lose more. Since when? Guy, shut your beaks. Come on, shut your beaks. Who born dog? Since when? Oh, all of a sudden, the padlocks were broken from your lips. All of a sudden, your mouth can talk. You can criticize. Now, look at this. You see, we've had enough of all this trash. Afenyo Markins, right now, he's rattling in a parliament as if the whole parliament belongs to him. We understand it's frustration. Guess, you know what we want to do? In that parliament, Afenyo Markins, he can say anything you want to say. We will give him the floor to speak. I'm happy the majority side allow him and his micro minority to speak. I'm very happy. You know why? Let them speak. We'll have our way. Oh yes, that's democracy. Can be. Speak whatever you want to speak, but we will have our way. Say any shit you want to say. We have the majority. We can decide tomorrow that even the president, His Excellency Dramani Mahama, we can decide to extend his stay in office. After the 4 years, we can decide that we want to change the law and make it 8 years that he continues. What can you do? You are powerless. You are powerless. You better shut your beaks. Shut up. Shut up. Enough of the trash. I don't have enough time. Let me just venture into this a little. And who born you? Who born dog? Who born you? Former defense minister Ntiwo, Dominic Ntiwo. You now talking about the presidential jet?
Yes. Let me make it extra clear to you. He went on a commercial flight. Unlike the former president who rented private jets even when he's going within the country. President Mahama has never, since he took office, rented and used Ghana government money to pay for any flight. That is the difference between our former president and the current president.
I'm just here to correct something that the Honorable Chief Whip made or said. Nothing more, nothing less. First of all, he said Akufo-Addo has not traveled on commercial aircraft. I want to say that President Akufo-Addo has traveled on numerous occasions on the same Emirates before. In fact, on some of the occasions, he went to Honorable Asenso. He's here. You can verify for him. I have the privilege as Minister for Defense to always be at the airport when the President is traveling. And your minister will do same. So I have the records. In fact, I am aware that the President has traveled to the UK numerous times on British Airways. We always have to be there between 10 and 11 for him to go. I'm aware that the President had to travel on Qatar Airways numerous times. So I'm just giving that information to Parliament and to the House. The second thing I want to correct is that President Akufo-Addo has not rented any private jet to travel within the country. West Africa, yes. Outside West Africa, yes. But in the country, no. Current jet is serviceable. It can move. It is working. It is wrong for the President of the Republic to be going on commercial jets when the jet that Ghana used their money to pay for and buy is available and it's working.
Mr. Speaker, it is very, very rich of the former defense minister who sat there and President Akufo-Addo traveled on countless occasions on very expensive private jets, is today telling us that our jet is fit for purpose. So how come you couldn't put the former president on the same jet flight? Immediately you left office, the jet has become serviceable. Very, very rich.
The presidential jet, you, Dominic Ntiwo, talking about presidential jet. Where were you when Akufo-Addo was flying a private jet with Sewa Abronye, with a girlfriend? Where were you when the president was flying a presidential jet, 20,000 pounds per hour? Where were you? Where were you? Now, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama did not pay for a private jet. I have a brother that is rich, that owns 3 private jets. I've been sworn into power. We understand there is a government, there's Ghana, Ghana Air Force One. Let me put it that way. Ghana Air Force One. The presidential jet is there. We understand. And I've been sworn in as a new, president-elect. I've just been sworn in. If I trust you guys, the outgoing government, I will comfortably move in, even into the presidential palace or the presidential villa, or I'll start using that flight. But because of your evil deeds, that some of you cannot even drink water from your own colleagues' homes. You go to parties, everybody comes with his own water bottle. Come on. NPP, you guys, what are you taking Ghanaians for? You go to parties, anybody comes with his own water bottle. You don't trust anyone because you guys are dying anyhow, poisoning each other anyhow. You expect JM to start flying the presidential jet. He has instructed the Ghana Air Force to check and check again and recheck again whether the flight, the airline, is in good condition before he start flying it. And his own brother, his kid brother, his junior brother offered him one of his jets. It's like, bro, kid bro, your flights, your private jet, anyone is available, I want to be traveling with it for a time being. And then you guys came up and said it's a security risk for the president. Oh, today you know that it's JM, has to be protected. But by the way, when he was the ex-president, you guys, did you ever bought him flight tickets when he was traveling abroad? Or he doesn't deserve it? Or you want him to start to lavish Ghana's money, the resources of Ghanaians, taxpayers' money, to start hiring expensive, luxurious jets like Akufo-Addo did? When you came into parliament to answer query, and you said a 6-hour flight, the president need to shower in the flight before the flight lands so that he can meet the dignitaries at the airport. Nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude on this note. Let me just conclude here. Ghana has become a hot cake. Actually, this took place during the previous administration, Akufo-Addo's government. This video I'm about to show you right now. Yes, like I told you, you did the right thing. We will talk about it. If it's evil, we will come after you. And the fact remains that these things did not start from only his government, from the previous administration. Yes, welcoming home Black Americans to Ghana. Like in recent days, we talk about Dirty December, which we'll be talking about again in some days to come. Well, as you can see, thousands of foreigners, Americans, British, Caribbeans, all sorts of people from all walks of life, swearing an oath of allegiance and receiving their Ghanaian citizenship. You as a Nigerian, as Ivorian, Togolese, Cameroonian, Egyptian, Beninwan, mention it, 54, 55 countries in Africa. Ask yourself, why all these thousands of people taking an oath of allegiance in one day to become Ghanaians? And look at the celebration out there. Dear friends, wherever you are in the diaspora, you can also acquire a Ghanaian passport. You can be a Ghanaian if you choose to be. It's lively. A lot is happening on the African continent. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Get yourself linked up. Get to Africa. You enjoy life in Africa. I'll see you guys all in the next one when you see me. Shalom and peace.